you know, Hamza said, yes, well, just like the earth revolves 23 degrees on its axis, which it does. The point was, I have no idea, but he gets a chance to say anything he wants. So does everybody else. You know, I want to follow protocol. You know what I do? I raise my hand. You know how many times I spoke? The same many times I spoke when we had the program, and they never would recognize. You would only have to kick the door in just to get a chance to speak. So, whether it was Zayd, whether it was Siraj them, everything we would talk about, they would copy and put it out like they were the drug busters. They had one kente cloth looking thing. They had a thing in the newspaper, we have to spend more time being conscious of Malcolm X. Made one statement. You haven't heard nothing about Malcolm since. It's open hypocrisy. Okay, we know this, but we had to, like Gandhi said, you have to make injustice visible. So we had to let the world see all of these people. On April 19th, a few days before my grandson was supposedly killed, that Friday Jummah, I'm giving a Jummah. I cooked a good meal, then stepped down, I'm in the hallway there. Mukhtar jumps up on a roster. By the way, Sunniyata, Luqman, the little bright-skinned principal, all of them guys had walked in the middle of Jummah. So I sweetened the Jummah up to give nobody no opening for nothing. Because I know they coming to, they done left the Masjid, they go down to another part of town. Mukhtar comes up and opens up the thing. I am not the police. That insinuates that I said he's the police, which is nothing like that. At all. I ain't said he's the police. And Imam Musa, you're not kind to us anymore. I mean, not kind. I put $35 on it, $35,000 on an account for you to help manage the affairs, which we don't have, don't nobody bring us nothing, right? And he's telling the people, you're not kind to us anymore. I looked at him like he was crazy. They all made their little spiel. Sunniyata, Imam Musa, you're talking about Zayd was a friend of yours. And then he says his spiel and start walking. I said, don't walk out, let me tell you about what I'm talking about Zayd. In 93, when they arrested everybody in Pennsylvania at the game wardens joint, I said, Zayd's main man was trying to get us all to go. I said, I know how to go to jail when I get ready. Of course, they arrested them all. They don't say who, you know, the basketball player and all them who invited everybody up there. And Zayd is the speaker. He don't go to jail. So everything they talk about, I got 5 substantiated reasons why I said what I said. Okay.
So how did you go from being not kind and arrogant to now being called the fake Imam? How did that transition happen?
Okay, first of all, you don't pay attention to it because none of it is true. And if they say it and I followed up with an answer, then they've set the agenda. That's what Abdul-Malik told them, that whoever sets the questions sets the agenda. This white folks things. He forgot that he had mentioned that that's his. So he told them, if they set this agenda and I respond to it, Remember when I always talk about responsibility, the ability to respond. That's why I never responded to any of their stuff for long periods of time. This is 5 years later. Almost 5, this is 4.5, 5 years later, I'm responding to this stuff. Imam Musa's a fake Imam. Imam Musa's a liar. They're just doing and saying whatever they want. Everything they say is a lie. I'm not going to respond to it because it's a lie. And if I respond to it, they're setting the agenda. What I do is come up and I start talking about what I want to talk about, and every now and then I might mention them. Remember I was saying that every Jummah before we come down, Khadijah calls me on the phone and talk. She wants me to be thinking about her and get mad. But you don't never see me come to Jummah mad, because it's a pattern. That's what's so wonderful about all of this. Remember, you got to remember what we're doing. Not what we're doing, we have already done. Remember, the first part of the war is already won. They can't take that back. All of these that we put out, are some of these really going out on the... Okay, people have contacted somebody is seeing some of these. We already won. We've already won that. You know what I mean? There's a battle, you win the battle, but then a follow-up. What we're doing now with the legal stuff is follow-up. When we get high up, that means the newspapers will catch hold to it, everything. Because we're going to be calling the newspaper. Why didn't you report on this? What is wrong with you? If they raided any other masjid with these death squads and what have you, it would be in the newspaper. Why they can do it here in Oakland? Many times, and don't nobody know. You don't write it nowhere. Why you do that? And okay, and our record in Oakland, in our history, you know, how many people do they have that was the mayor, they said, of their town, Negro town? Then they go and they involved in the African liberation movement with help, aid, and assistance. Then they go to South America, and they still helping the Negro movement, but they're also involved with all movements. If they got what they used to call M19, the FARC, all those people was not brand new, but if they started in '64 and we're there in the early '70s, they're still new movements. They're still, you know, in other words, one of the reasons that we can make forecasts because we've been all over the world and we know what to think. Whatever the newspaper said, we're just reading that. You see what I mean? We don't believe what they say. We can read the newspaper and know which part is true and which part is a lie. So, they didn't have nothing to go on. So what they did was told pure 100% lies, hoping that I would blow it. Here's what they was counting on. They was counting on a few things. Number one, say with Imam Jamil, if you attack him and he has a good feeling about himself, which is normal, and they felt that, well, I feel the same way. But they didn't know that I could laugh at stuff. You know, I have a different personality. So you can say things that's supposed to be humiliating and it's humiliating to me. I'll take care of this when I get ready. So they were sure that would work. Number two is overwhelming. They thought if Yahya Abdul-Karim was confronted by Sheikh, what's his name? in New York, and the sheikh, Jelani, that he come back out of the hills, and Rod was with him and told him, we're going to make you Amir of Dawa. And the brothers didn't say nothing. Suleiman al-Hadi, all of the Dar brothers, they was waiting on the Imam to say something. Well, here's the guy floating in on a carpet. They supposed to say something too. But most people, when they're overwhelmed with inescapable numbers, they do kind of, not crumble, but there's nothing you can do about it. So here's the way the government feels. He's a nigga like everybody else. We're going to do several things. Number one, we're going to show you that you're 100% surrounded. You have nobody to turn to, nobody cares, and no one's going to help you. And we're going to show you all the other things too that we got. Now, 99% of the people will look at that and they'll crumble. Not me. I look at it like, thank you for showing me those few extra things. As far as all of the niggas, they were never with me when I went in exile, when I'm in the hole, when I'm in South America. I don't need them niggas. I don't care what you think. Who the hell is you? You know, they didn't know that. And there was a couple of times now when we sent them in that direction. The 2003 meeting at our Masjid in Sacramento, we had helped open that. Nice place out on Fruit Ridge. The Oakland people and the guy, remember the Spanish guy from Sacramento that was here, that I told to take it easy and relax. When we went to Sacramento, everybody there was on the same team. The brothers from Oakland and the brothers from Sacramento. So when they started their fitna, nobody from Oakland said anything. So I'm there by myself. So I looked at it. I said, well, I tell you what, I'm staying here in this masjid till this stuff is clear. Then after a while, I said, no, that's all right. You want it? Keep it. You want it? Keep it. Thank you very much. Okay, Abdul-Malik was watching. He added up that the same way. Remember when we had a school meeting down there, my nephew was there, the big-headed woman was there, Sister Bahia was there, and my nephew was, okay, Ali was there. Yeah, that's her. Sister Bahia here says a 100% lie. Yo, acting this way because you want some of this, and she patted on her vagina. Well, everybody that knows me knows that that's an absolute lie, because I'm the only Imam I know that did, during the healthiest part of their life, did 15 years clean. You know, with everybody watching, keeping notes to make sure, you know. And at that time, I was probably 2 years. Since people are talking crazy, I was at least 2 years, you know, in celibacy then, at that very minute. Then, our guard was saying, when I said certain things, he says, don't go there, Imam Musa. I said, I know what I'm doing here. You know. He was using the old hadith about Abu Bakr and when the people was talking against him and the Prophet was smiling. Then when he responded, I said, no, this nigga's is not during the prophet's time. And my nephew, I had spent, I don't know how many thousands to bring him from California, Arkansas to here to deal with the school. That's what he's a teacher. But he was working with other people, which we knew. And so, well, about the school, he said, no, I ain't gonna do that. So I didn't even look up because I already knew that he had been told what to do. I already knew why he was here. Now, they will feed that to Abdul-Malik and he will give them a policy. So Oakland was certain. If we overwhelm him with people, events, he's gonna either one, get mad and blow it and attack, and we got him on camera. The good Imam beating up people or doing whatever they do. They got it. They didn't get that. Or the Imam overwhelmed. See, what happened down there was a trap because I said something that they would use later. If you said that in Oakland, I don't know if you remember, I said, if you said that in Oakland, I was asking my nephew, if they said what they just said in Oakland, what would happen to them? They said they'd be in a lot of trouble. That's what my nephew said. I don't know if you remember that part. So when they asked Abdul-Malik, he told them, because I had been testing Abdul-Malik for 10, 20 years by then. So I know what he responded to. Remember, everything in Oakland, we set that up. You have to remember. We said here in D.C., when we get to Oakland, we're going to do such and such and such. It was 2 weeks before Mukhtar even showed up to see me. He was making moves. When he came in on that Sunday, I hadn't even seen him, and I don't know when. Okay, so we arranged that because that's what design fitna is. You design your own fitna based on what you feed them and what they think about you. So now they're shocked. They said, oh, that's why I was teaching for a couple of years on that trick they did. They'd have the 4 lines, and they put one of the guys in a room where he couldn't hear, and everybody would describe one of the shorter lines as the longest. And he said, don't worry about what you say, you just say it. You can say, well, this one is wider, this one looks like a circle and it's longer. And then you ask him. Now this brother was from Seattle. He was the slickest nigga in Seattle. The richest too. He was up at McNeil Island, Federal Penitentiary. When he picked the longest line, he picked the shortest one. Peer group pressure. 99% of the people will always go with peer group pressure. They're somehow overwhelmed by it and they're afraid to be alone. Some stupid stuff. But they misjudged. Oakland was a total miscalculation. Now you gotta remember, we made them go through this routine 10 or 20 times. Remember, this started in December of 2013. December 1st program. It's still going on now. I've been arrested in the Masjid 4 or 5 times. And everybody knows, if the government didn't know that's where I live, they forgetting their own records. I've been visited by the FBI in that masjid in '87. You know, the police arrested me at the masjid around that time too, at the masjid. It was dealing with somebody else, but they arrested me. Okay, the police that drove by, they would look at me, they would look at my sons, and they do stuff like this, you know, that they gonna get them. All this is so. On Khadijah's thing about the fake imam has helped so many people. But I would sound like a fool talking about, I'm not no fake imam, I help everybody, which I do. And everybody know that. So I let them keep running their mouth. Now they done ran their mouth so long that it's full of shit and everybody know it. So we let them cut their own throat. We let them go. We let them keep on, keep on, keep on. Until Khadijah say, how am I fake imam? Well, I read your record and it don't show. How you read a record? Who give you my papers that you have illegally taken? The Constitution don't allow you to take. Fifth Amendment says you cannot take people's personal property without a bill of particulars. You got a category, everything. The government cannot confiscate. See, the Fifth or the Sixth Amendment. They can't do that. Okay, now you got to look at what we got them breaking the Constitution. Every time they look in my direction, they violated the Constitution. We can't lose. Every time they open their mouth. That's why I was telling the lawyer I don't, because they said, well, they're going to have a trial on a misdemeanor trespassing, you know. And I was just telling the other day, this public defender, because I don't have no money, of course. I said, I don't know when I'm coming there because I stay in a masjid. That's where I stay. I'm not going to come to my own hometown and live in a hotel. And the people where I stayed and broke in there, and the windows was broken. This is true, my house. Okay. So, where are we now? We have the best case in history against the United States government. A civil rights case. They broke the law. The last arrests, the last two were the best.